Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Keim, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? How you doing, man?
Ooh, Ted, I tell you what, man, they say that the jet lag coming from the left coast to the right coast is a monster, and I'm here to tell you that they weren't lying. But nothing beats getting back into your own bed. But man, I got to tell you, LA was nice. It really was.
It looked like a blast, man. But before we jump into it, I want to say happy birthday to John Keim. Really appreciate John. I mean, he's the godfather of the Commanders beat. Guy's been doing this for a long time. They actually had a picture his face on a cake, and it said happy 70th birthday to John. So if you guys are out there, make sure you tweet John. He didn't actually turn 70, but all the beat reporters, they're all giving John a hard time. And Rivera at the end of his press conference today, for those wondering, it's Wednesday the 20th. Actually, wish John a happy 70th birthday too. So the guys, having a little fun in what's been a very, very long season. But we really appreciate you, John.
Yeah, John, happy birthday, brother. Happy 21st birthday. I'll give you that. How about that?
There you go, man. How many don't sleeps have you been chugging with this jet lag and having to go right back to work?
I had at least two. I can tell you that right now. Definitely two, because one I thought would do the job, and it did. But then when you gotta drive, you gotta go ahead and get another one down. So, but it was 2 different days. So, yeah, man. Don't forget, guys. DMV Mess Hall and the promo code. Get your bonus code money off. It's Christmas time. You never know who may want something like that as a gift. It's good stuff.
I actually got some tomato sauce at lunch on my Don't Sleep t-shirt and immediately took that thing off so the wife could help me get some stain remover on that so it didn't end up ruined. But they've got some gear on their website, don'tsleepenergy.com. Really appreciate Mike. I actually got to do some post-game stuff for the Commanders game at the Fox 5 station. So I'm
No
sitting.
kidding.
Yeah, man. I'm sitting in the station. I'm watching the game by myself in the green room. So it's just me in the empty TV station. And I brought a Don't Sleep with me because it's just me in this dark TV station watching the game, just taking notes on my notebook and hanging out. And eventually, slowly but surely, people started funneling in once the game was ending. But I had my Don't Sleep there to just keep me up because, no offense, game was not that fun. It until Jacoby didn't came in, it was kind of slow and dying. And then I had to stay up till 11:30 with the TV stuff coming on. So I'm like, it's just been a long day. So I appreciate that. And the day before that, I was helping out the Commanders with the Toys for Tots.
Oh, I did see those
2,000
pictures.
kids,
Yeah.
man. 2,000 kids coming through, getting presents. The Commanders Charitable Foundation, they partner with United Airlines and a couple other people to make sure all these kids had toys. You would have thought that I babysat all 2,000 kids by the time I got home Saturday night because I was just dead tired. All I'm doing is handing out toys. So it was a good time, though.
Uncle Tailgate, thanks.
Man, I wish it was that easy. I had parents yelling at me. One woman said that
What?
oh yeah, she said, I don't believe in Disney. We don't want Disney stuff on our house. And her kid picked a Disney toy. Like
Oh,
you tell that child he cannot or she cannot have that. And I mean, there was also a woman that did not want her kid to have a Nerf gun. And I get it. Parents don't want their kids to have certain toys in their house.
yeah.
But I'm not telling the little kid no. If they point and they want it, they're getting it. So you need to have that discussion with them. Don't come to me as a volunteer chastising me
Yeah.
because your kid wants something they normally can't get.
Yeah. Prior to coming, it's like when we were kids going to the store. Don't touch this. Don't touch that. Don't touch anything. You can just point at it and maybe I'll get it for you. I remember those days. So yeah, man, the parents need to have had that talk to the kids before they left. No guns, no Disney. Don't even think about it, little Charlie. And what do you know? Charlie
But
wanted
it
that
was
Nerf gun.
oh yeah, he did. He did because there was a stack of them behind me. I mean, the stuff that people donated was crazy. And it was
Hmm.
awesome to see them having all these things for those families out there. But speaking of awesome, your trip to LA, man, we need to get you to start doing some like videos and just different clips because the pictures don't do it any justice.
Man, Ted, LA is a whole nother beast, bro. I gotta tell you, I loved everything except for the traffic. The traffic is the only thing that I didn't like. And people think that the DMV traffic is bad, or trying to get out of FedEx Field is bad. Huh. Okay, if you went to LA, you chime in and let us know what your thoughts were as far as the traffic and getting out of the stadium. It was horrible. But on a good note, man, that stadium, the bee's knees, brother. It's the bee's knees. Everything around it, it's aesthetically pleasing. They've got that like water pool area. Well, it's not a pool, but because they don't want anyone swimming in it or anything like that. But just where ducks can come down and land.
Is it a moat?
So
Because I think we're supposed to get a moat with the old
no,
stadium.
no, it's not a moat. It didn't go around the stadium. It's like a little lake, if you will, that's in front of the stadium, and it's awesome, man. The scenic views that you can get from there, it's very, very nice.
So you got to take a behind the scenes tour of the stadium with your group, and then all of a sudden you're running into superstars out there. I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, so I had a stadium tour set up with the group that SB Events took there, and shout out to everyone that had a ball. And so we're doing our tour, and one of the things that you can do on the tour is actually go on the field. So we're going on the field and we're doing what we're doing, and all of a sudden we hear this, hello, 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 test, 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 and it's Gronk, and he's testing the microphone for his Saturday broadcast of the UCLA game that they had there. I think they call it the LA Bowl or something to that effect. And so everyone was like, "Is that Gronk?" And sure enough, it was, because at that point it was a little bit, he was a little bit the distance away,
Yeah,
and
but he's on the field doing this.
yeah, he's on the field. So we were on one side of the field and he was on the other. So we were making our way around the field. And as we got closer, he was like on the 50-yard line. And as we got closer, sure enough, it was him. And once he finished doing his mic checks, he said, "Hey, you mind coming over?" And he gave us the give me a minute type of a pause. And so we all just were giddy because we didn't think he was going to come. And sure enough, once he finished, he walked over and started chopping it up with this man. And the guy's just a cool guy. I mean, if I had the amount of money that he had, I'd be cool too. But very personable, answer questions. I mean, you name it, man. He was just an overall good guy.
That's awesome, man. Because I'm sitting here looking like, how is Gronk sitting out there on Rally's tour? Did he sign up on SB events? Like, what's going on? And next thing you know, you're taking a picture with him, and the entire group's taking a picture. Because I took a tour of Allegiant, and they didn't have anyone famous hanging out there, so I feel like I got gypped.
Yeah, it's funny, man. People have no cut card. Oh, why did Gronk photobomb you? You couldn't have had it. And I said, listen, we asked him over and he came over. There was no photobomb. People just want to just dog you, just to dog you, man.
Oh yeah, man.
It's crazy. The internet's brutal, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But, so how did the rally go? Did you do the rally before the tour, or was that after the tour?
So the tour was Friday and the rally was Saturday afternoon at Hermosa
Gotcha.
Beach. Um, and the tour from not the tour, but the rally from downtown, the downtown area, was probably, I'd say, with traffic, man, an hour away. It
Damn.
was pretty. It was rough, bro. And so a lot of people
On a
um,
Saturday.
on a Saturday. Think about Fredericksburg to DC on a Saturday.
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
thanks.
it's about an hour and some odd, even more uh, time limit from there. So it wasn't a good look. And so they had a great crowd, but I talked to a lot of people who said that once they put it in their GPS, they just didn't want to do it. And I understand. I mean, you're in LA, and so you only have so much time, and so to dedicate 3 hours of your time, or actually, if you look at it with traffic, 5 hours of your time, an hour each way coming and going, you know, plus the 3 hours that's 5 hours that you might want to do something different. So a lot of people didn't show up, and I think that if there was ever a way that they could have maybe had it in a downtown bar or something like that,
Yeah,
then
instead of
maybe
out the beach.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but the beach was good. Don't take anything from it. We had a great time. Um, I loved seeing everyone. Shout out to a lot of people said they listened to the DMV Mess Hall. It really surprises me. It still does surprise me. I mean, even though that we do have a pretty good following, it really does surprise me just to hear, "Hey, man, I listen to your show. Keep doing what you're doing." I tell Ted I said hi. Sure thing, you got it.
You gotta
it's
start
a
taking
beautiful.
pictures of these people, man. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I asked. Is like, yeah, I'll tell them, but let's take a set. Like when I was in that stupid llama outfit, it's like, all right, we gotta take a picture. And if you guys are on social, send that to me because it is fun to see.
Yeah.
And knowing that the season is what it is and people are still listening, that definitely we appreciate that. And I was on Fox 5 this past Sunday night with Chad Ricardo, and Chad gave me the clip for it and posted it. And knowing how many people I piss off with my takes from time to time and they still listen, definitely appreciate that. But I mean, this
I
trip,
did see that. I did see you on with Ricardo. That's what that was. All right.
yeah,
Big ups
that's what
to
it
you, brother.
was.
Big ups to you.
It was a good time, man. Chad hit me up, said, hey, can you come out here? And then any chance I get to, obviously talk about our team, I want to do and obviously promote the show, definitely trying to do that too. But I'm amazed at our fan base, at how many
Hmm.
people in our fan base are 1,000% adamant that EB is the future and Sam is the future. And just going into this game and looking at everything that happened, we'll get into that in a minute. It was still kind of frustrating to see. But from a stadium experience, I mean, you've been to Allegiant, you've been to all the new stadiums now because you hadn't been to
Hmm.
SoFi yet. To
Right.
me, what Allegiant and SoFi are the two newest, right? Or is there another one
Correct.
in between? Or is
Correct.
Mercedes in there too?
No, no. Mercedes in Atlanta, that's been around for at least 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. At least
So
3 years.
compare the two, because I know a lot of our listeners and fans for the Commanders went out to that Raiders game a couple years back. Which one's your favorite?
I have to say right now, since it's a lasting impression in my mind, SoFi. Dallas, and I hate, and I know people say I don't like anything in Texas. I know you say that, but Jerry Jones did a great job with this stadium. I have to say that. Well, he did. You got to give credit where credit is due. As much as we don't like the team, but no, I didn't say that. Now, no, no, don't give him that much credit. I said the stadium. That's a difference. So, but as far as aesthetically pleasing, that building is so nice, and the tour talked about how it was built, how many floors um, they had to dig, or how many feet they had to dig to before you underground. And just to hear them go through this stuff, man, was just awesome. And I recommend anybody, if you're there, go on a tour. Make it a part of your tour. Go see that stadium. You will be happy that you did. It really was nice. And the staff, everyone was nice. I had a couple fans who gave me the booze, whatever have you. But then, like any time, like anything else, they came back and they were like, "Nah, man, we're just playing with you. We hope welcome to the SoFi, welcome to LA. Is this your first time to LA? They were asking all those type of questions, but they
Yeah.
were very friendly. Um,
Saw you on
Shout out.
camera a couple times. It was a horrible angle, but I saw you on camera a couple times.
Oh, okay. I know there's one time that the guy did turn the camera around to me, and I think it's a upward shot.
Yeah,
And
it's right below you, and we could count your nose hairs, man. It was not just you. It's like there was a guy beside you that also had a flag, and every once in a while, when he was on, a Rams
yeah,
fan, we could see you in the corner. So I'm like, they can't put you on like a lift or something, man. I mean, it's just like a bad shot trying to look up that way.
yeah. Speaking of Rams fans, let me tell you, for all you guys and gals out there who are waiting and wanting a new stadium, the stories that I heard from the fans about what their ticket prices cost will blow your mind, and you're not gonna like it.
I
But
mean,
it's gonna be par for the course. I mean, we know what's gonna happen, so I'm gonna tell you now, from whenever we get this new stadium, 2028, 29, 30, whatever it is, if you are still around and you're a fan, be ready to let those ducats fly out of your wallet or purse.
I had a bunch of buddies in the black hole for the Raiders. So they've
Hmm.
been in Oakland for years. Kingsford Kirk does a bunch of stuff on TV, cook and everything else. Part of the black hole. His season tickets went up, PSLs, to 40 plus $1,000 a seat.
Yep.
And that was just the right to buy it. You didn't actually get tickets. So
No.
they gave them up. And I'm trying to enjoy FedEx as long as I possibly can because I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford tickets in the new stadium.
Yeah.
And If anything, it's not. I'm not saying I'm not going to go. I just won't have season tickets, and I'll cherry pick seats on StubHub or join SB events and grab some seats that way, or do something because I
Hmm.
don't know how people can afford these PSLs. I mean, I'm not independently wealthy. You guys see me recycling the same old Commander shirts on here. I'm not like Rally with that new hoodie he's got right there, but it's a good time. I
This
just
little thing.
it's going to get expensive going to games down the road, but if we actually have a better product on the field, people aren't going to hate on it as much, but just know, yeah, definitely like Rally's saying, I mean, some of those seats downstairs and just a PSL to do it. And some of you say we're not going to get PSLs. Name me a new stadium that was built without a PSL. One,
Hmm.
one in the past 10 years that was built without a PSL.
Yeah,
Ain't going to happen.
it's going to be rough, guys. So just prepare yourself. And as Ted said, I'm hoping that by then the product on the field would have changed threefold, and we'll be looking at maybe a Super Bowl in between that time frame. So you will want to get back out there and pay your hard-earned money to see them play. But yeah, they weren't happy about it. But at the same time, the stadium was full. And the burgundy and gold represented, and I loved it. I really did. And to see people from all walks of life at that stadium, from the West Coast to the East Coast, Midwest, everywhere, it was a beautiful thing, man. It really was. To hear people saying, "Yeah, I knew I was going to go to this game when the schedule came out in May, and so I just started putting some money to the side, and here we are." Here's another thing that gets me, and I was hoping to be able to meet you, Rally Captain. I'm like, what, me? I mean, man, Ted, I'm sure you've heard it a lot of times. The mere fact that someone says that they want to meet me, it still blows my mind because I don't view myself as I guess, star or anything like that. I'm just a fan who's able to go to games, But it's a good feeling. It's a good
It's
feeling.
humbling, man. It's definitely
Yeah.
humbling. I get messages from people that are hitting me up about the 49ers game. And they're saying, I know you don't take away team fans. Like, no, it's not that we don't take away team fans. I want to cater to Commanders fans. I don't
Hmm.
want to cater to the opposing fans coming over and taking over my tailgate because I can only cook so much food and only have so many spots for people. So if you are a fan and you don't live in this area, but you're a fan of our team, you're welcome to come join. You don't got to ask for permission. And people saying, well, I just want to stop by and say hello. Like, you're stopping by, I'm giving you a hot dog or something to walk away with.
Yeah.
But it is humbling to see. And, you know, everyone knows that you're going to be there, obviously, every game. And, I want to talk to you about the Jets because I'm going up there and I might have 2 extra tickets and a parking pass for, an avid listener or someone else we can talk to.
Mm.
But
Mm.
it's going to be interesting. And I had marked SoFi as a game I wanted to go to, but because the season ticket prices went up on us, and because I'm going to New York for the Jets game and taking Mrs. Tailgate out there so we can do the whole Christmas thing right, I just couldn't swing it. But I'm so happy you got to make it out there. A couple of my Hail Barbecue crew were out there. Dude, there were just shots of Commanders fans in suites all up and down the TV, all of you guys in the stands. Saw a couple of hog farmers on there. I mean, considering where we are in this season and you guys made that trip to represent, it did not go unnoticed at all. So it was great to see.
I tell you something else that was great to see, Ted. So I get back from the stadium tour, and coming back from the hotel, I said, "Wait a minute, that guy looks familiar." It was Doug Williams. And I was like, what's Doug Williams doing here? I didn't think anything of it. Then all of a sudden, I see Terry McLaurin. I see Sam Howell. I said, what? The team was staying at our hotel that we were staying at. So for everybody on the trip, it was an added bonus. I had no clue they were staying at our hotel, but they were. And that made everyone's trip that much better as well. Being able to rub elbows with the team, it was really nice. They had a lot of people who took a lot of pictures. It's a lasting memory that they will always share and have.
So that explains it now, man. So we can blame you guys for Cheeseman staying out late and being potentially tired for the game and missing those snaps. Is that what happened?
Oh no, brother, they had a curfew, so they had to get on back in. We may have been outside, but they were inside. They had curfew. Trust and believe that. But I got to tell you, when those snaps happened, I said, oh, I said, I'm sure he's gone. I said, I'm
The
sure he's
thing is,
gone. And
it's happened all season. So I don't
yeah.
understand what took so long. And after the game, Cheeseman had a quote that he gave to the media. And this is from Nikki Jabala's Twitter. Cameron Cheeseman on if he's worried the Commanders will make a change at long snapper. I mean, I've been worried all year. I haven't been performing the way I've been wanting to. Most places, I probably wouldn't be around still. I
Hmm.
mean,
That's what he said.
that's what he said. Literally, your long snapper is
Wow.
saying if he was playing for a different team, he probably still wouldn't be around. But yet, Rivera let him stay here. And when I say we, the Commanders brought in long snappers week 2. This was a problem all training camp, all preseason. But they brought in
Hmm.
and tried out long snappers week 2 because Cheeseman kept messing up. He's been messing
Yeah.
up ever since week 2. He's the lowest graded special teams player in the NFL. I'm not talking long snapper, I'm talking special teams with a
Hmm.
26.1. And he stuck around on this roster. And Rivera said, when it becomes a problem, I'll take care of it. But it's been a problem this entire time. And what are you thinking in your head when you're in those stands? And I'm not trying to make a joke, but one of our best players on the roster, Tress Way, is lying in the fetal position on the floor.
Yeah. MVP Tressway. That's when I said, oh, he's going to get cut. And I said, they can't keep this up. There's just no way you can keep it up. And once Tress got up and he limped off or whatever have you, everybody applauded. And I said, oh yeah, he's done. I'm sure he is. You just felt it. And you could look at him. You could look. He ran off the field. He looked over. I saw him because that happened on my end zone. I saw him look over to his right, and he looked at Tress, and then he just jogged off the field and went to the stand or the bleacher where he was sitting, the bench, and just put his head down because he knew.
Yeah, I mean, he had to know. And some of our listeners who might be a little older might remember, I think it was 1999. And back then, the Redskins were playing the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay in the playoffs. And Dan Turk was our long snapper. He was the brother of Matt Turk, who was our
Hmm.
punter. And our holder, Dan botched the snap. And they didn't get to fly back home on the team plane. So I'm
Mm.
sitting here wondering, and Rivera would never do this, and the Commanders wouldn't do this now. But I'm wondering
Yeah.
if I'm Cheeseman, I don't want to fly back on that plane. I mean, I'm getting a Greyhound ticket and going back,
Well,
especially after. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, well, it was a sigh of relief that once Tress got back up and he was working out to get on the sideline, and he eventually came back in to punt. You know, it was a sigh of relief from him from that aspect. But so that probably, if Tress probably would have been, hurt for the whole game, probably would have had to catch a Amtrak back or something, man. Spirit, I'm
You
sure.
might have to help him with a flight back too. But this is actually what Ron had to say about long snap.
Ron, you guys made a move with the long snapper. Can you just kind of walk through that explanation there?
Well, it's just one of those things that there's a certain point where it hadn't been fixed the way it needs to be fixed to be consistent all the time. It's unfortunate because for 2 solid years, we got some real good stuff from him. And unfortunately, this year it was not as consistent as it needed to be.
And I get we're talking about long snapper. It should not be happening. We really shouldn't know who our long snapper's name is. But for some reason in DC, we do. Like, you guys probably all remember the red snapper, like Ethan Albright from back in the day, who actually got to go to the Pro Bowl after Sean passed. And Ethan and Chris Samuel and Chris Cooley all wore 21 in the Pro Bowl in honor of Sean. And then
Hmm.
famously, Nick Sundberg was here for a long time. And
Long time.
they were asking me, why did we let go of Nick? And Nick had tricep surgery and he had a back thing, and Rivera traded up with the Eagles. I mean, it should probably be an unwritten rule or even a written rule at this point that you don't trade within your division. And I went back to see if the draft pick we traded to the Eagles actually came back to bite us. But luckily, that pick that we gave them did not hurt us. But they traded up in the draft to get this guy. And he's no longer here. They brought in Tucker Addington. No idea who this guy is. Hope I
No.
never know who he is, but he's on the practice squad. He'll probably get elevated to the starting squad coming up because they don't have another person to do it.
Yeah.
And You
Only
know,
makes sense.
Tyler Larson's hurt. Snapping from a center position to a long snapper position is completely different. So it's not like they can just throw Nick Gates and say, hey, you're long snapping now. So this guy is going to come out and take care of it this week for us against the Rams. But it's just another indictment on this roster, another
Hmm.
indictment on Rivera, the personnel person, and, how this season has been, because it should never happen in week 15 to go on this long. And another reason why this entire thing's getting blown up January 8th. And
Just can't wait to January, and we're jumping the gun, but yeah, can't wait to January 8th. So I want to rewind a little bit. So I was able to acquire a field pass, and man, just the stars that were on the sideline. Big shout out to Jeffrey Wright, the actor. He has a new movie that's coming out, and we talked for a moment, and all around good guy. And then I met a reporter from Channel 7 out in who works at Channel 7 out in LA. And also, guess who I ran into? Our buddy Darren Hayes.
oh, nice.
Yeah, man. And so, we talked briefly, and he's loving it out there, the Hollywood scene as a sports reporter out there. So, I mean, it was just an overall great experience, man.
I mean, you talk about it, you go on these trips, it's about the entire experience, not just the game.
Hmm.
And I saw so many pictures from Commanders fans, Washington fans that were just loving the weather out in LA, basically throwing it in everyone's faces that didn't make that trip, hanging out at Hermosa Beach, just partying there on the beach and seeing the waves. And I'm jealous because I'm thinking, damn, Ocean City's getting a swell right now. They had some 8 to 12 footers this past
Oh,
week, but the water was like 20 degrees. You guys are
ooh,
out there and it's nice and toasty. It's like, no, I'm not going to pass on it. But man, you couldn't be more right. It's about the entire trip. And if you get a chance to get that dub when you leave, then hey, that's icing on that cake. But to
that's
me,
right. I
that's all
still
that
ate cake,
matters.
baby. I still ate cake.
It's
That's what I
like
tell people.
I'm
Winning the
going to the
game is,
Jets game,
yeah.
and I'm going to party with my man Tailgate Joe. And this guy's tailgate, we talked about it on our last pod. It's another level than mine because he's allowed to charge money. I can't charge money, so I can't do the stuff he's doing. But he's got like tomahawk steaks and
Mm.
just like lobsters and all this other stuff, man. And I can't wait to just experience that. And if we get the dub, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be pissed because I don't want a dub at this point, but
Yeah,
it'll still be a good time.
definitely. And I love to stop by old Joe's tailgate myself and say what's up.
Oh, we'll get you out
Uh,
there, man. We'll definitely make sure we
yeah,
get you out there.
cool.
But before we get to this Jets game, I mean, I still can't believe what happened this past week. Cooper Cup somehow goes uncovered.
Mm.
You had Benjamin St. Juice and Cam Curl let him run right past them in week 15. Rivera talks about how he simplified the defense, how it's not that big a deal at this point right now. And you've got Cup going in motion. This is a former Super Bowl MVP, right? And it's a easy seam switch between your DB and your safety. And next thing you know, no one runs with Cooper Cup. He had 17 yards of separation
Yeah.
between the next closest defender, and he gets a 62-yard bomb. I mean, that right there encapsulates this entire Commanders season from a defensive perspective. That's why we're dead last, because John Allen goes on the Junkies every week and talks about it, and he can't talk about what's happening on the back end. But the guys on the back end just aren't putting up what they need to. I mean, the fact that Emmanuel Forbes, your first round pick, who came back, he played 6 snaps out of
Yeah.
75 this
Very
week.
limited. Very limited.
And it wasn't because he was hurt. It's because Rivera said the matchup was better for Quan Martin. How is that possible with your first round pick? That the matchup is better with the guy that you took in the second? I mean, you brought Forbes in here and he should be an every down DB, but
Mm.
yet he wasn't. And my concern is for the future staff that comes in, are they going to be able to find a home for this kid?
Yeah, we know if the new staff, they don't like someone, they're probably gonna try to work with them as best as they can, but eventually cut them. But it goes back to a previous show that we did when Rivera took over. And I said, if he says that is going to make things more simple or for the defense, then what's going to happen is the muscle memory that these guys had from the previous defensive coach, they're going to revert back to it because that's what your muscle memory does. You revert back to what you know. And I think that when that switch happened in their mind, oh, he's got him. Oh, no, he's got him. And all of a sudden, there you have a 62-yard touchdown.
See, to me,
So
it's just, yeah,
that's what I believe it happened, man. Their muscle memory thought that the other one of the others would cover them, and they just thought that it would happen, and it didn't happen.
it comes down to communication. Like, and this is nowhere near the same, but Mrs. Tailgate's playing pickleball, right? So
Mhm.
I've been trying to support her and her pickleball, and I went out because we didn't do a show Monday because you were coming back. So I went out to go play and hang out with her and her team on Monday night. And she and I are playing doubles together, and the ball goes in between us. And we sit there and stare at each other like, I thought you were going to get it. No, I thought you were going to get it, right? To me, that's what happened with Cam Curl and Benjamin St. Juice. Like, oh, I
Mhm.
thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. Like, if one of us at that point would have just said, I got it, then boom, you're done.
Yeah.
Even if Cooper Kupp says and hears that, oh, he's got me, at least one of you guys knows that it's not going to be an explosive and he's not going to be wide open. It's not going to be
Yeah.
a highlight on Sports Center.
Yeah, maybe a 15-yarder or something to that effect, but not 62-yard
No,
TD.
not 62 yards. And I actually watched Hard Knocks. The Dolphins are doing the in-season Hard Knocks right now. And I went back and I watched the Hard Knocks that they were preparing for the Commanders.
Oh
And I
boy.
think it's Wes Welker was telling Tyreek Hill, like, if they do this, this, and this, you're going to eat all day and just going back and forth. And that was with the simplified defense. And
Hmm.
it was just frustrating to see. But to me, that wasn't even the worst part of it. Sam Howell finally got benched for poor performance with 9 minutes left to go in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, what were you thinking in the stands when you saw that happen?
I thought that he was out due to injury or something to that effect, because I think he has been pulled once before
One
during
time
a game, one other time.
with like
And
a
so,
minute and some change left, not much.
yeah, and I thought that was because of injury, maybe uh, something he hit his head or something like that. But when I saw Brissett come in, I said, interesting. Okay, is Sam hurt? Why isn't he in? Or did the guys just stop wanting to play for him? I mean, there's all these dynamics that when you're in the stands, you don't know, but you're trying to surmise that. Okay, what is it? So and then when Brissett came in, obviously it raised everyone's eyebrows to say, okay, wait a minute, this guy's actually doing something here. Where are we going with this? What's going on? Is there a controversy all of a sudden?
Yeah. I mean, Sam was 11 for 26. And you and I were texting during the game, just going back and forth. Like, Antonio Gibson didn't get hurt. He just got
Yeah.
benched because AG missed a crucial block on a pass play. So Rivera and
Oh,
them,
that's what
whoever
it
it was,
was.
they sat his ass down. So
I didn't know
AG was
that.
4 for 15. Yeah, because you said, oh, well, AG's not in. It's like, well, I'm
Yeah.
looking and he's not hurt. So why is he not there? It's because he missed that block. And
Okay.
that's why I love listening to the radio feed from Julie Bram in London because you get those different pieces, but it's tough to do when you're, obviously away for a game. But at home, I
Mhm.
stream it on my cell phone and everything else. And at the games, I got a little AM radio. But Sam got benched because he was 11 for 26 with 102. He only took one sack, but that
Mhm.
interception he threw, where it was just straight over Terry's head, he had a running back right in the flat at that point,
Yeah, I do remember that.
wide open. And Sam was just trying to force it. And
Hmm.
they just sat his ass down.
Well, that goes back to the pressure that a young QB has trying to make a play. He's hurt all season. Terry isn't getting the catches that he needs, so he saw the one-on-one and just said, "I'll chalk up the deuce," and here we are, and it happened that way. And because of that, like you said, they had to sit him down.
Rivera said they sat him down to protect Sam. And I'm thinking, okay, well, Charles Leno at that point went out of the game. Cornelius Lucas came in.
Hmm.
Was it Tyler Larson got hurt? Or whoever the hell I said his name is, forgot it. He got hurt and they put in Nick Gates, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe at that point they're trying to do that. But then The second Brissett comes in, he's throwing bombs. Next thing you
Mhm.
know, he's hitting Terry left and right. Terry had his first 100-yard game of the season, and it's week 15,
Wow.
week 16. First 100-yard game of the season.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's unreal. And 47 of those yards were from Sam. 94 were from Brissett. And before people get into it, Brissett was not facing a prevent defense. They were still playing press coverage, and they were still blitzing. We were
I
down
was going to ask
28
you
to
that.
7.
Okay.
But going back and looking at the tape and just watching the game, they were still playing man defense, pressing Terry. Brissett just realized, oh, you're playing man on Terry? All right, let's go. And he just threw it right over top. And to the point of one of those passes was even late, and Terry had to adjust and still made the catch. Brissett just knew what he had to do. And keep in mind, this is with a backup left tackle and a backup center.
Mhm.
And everyone's been yelling and screaming that Sam's had a horrible offensive line. But maybe if Sam recognized some of these things pre-snap like Brissett did, and it's not
Yeah.
100% fair because Brissett is a vet and he knows where
Yes.
to go pre-snap over Sam. But if he realized, someone compared it to Kirk Cousins. Kirk always went where the offense dictated, not where the matchup dictated. Brissett saw that the matchup dictated that Terry was one-on-one, and I trust my receiver to win that one-on-one matchup. Even though the
Yeah.
play, Terry wasn't the first option, Brissett knew Terry's going to burn his ass. But it was frustrating just to see that in general. And then you've got a bunch of people saying, you know, should Sam play next week against the Jets? Luckily, Rivera immediately came out at his press conference and said, no, Sam is starting next week against the Jets. There are some fans that want Brissett to play. What say you?
I say that it reminds me of the whole Heineke situation last year when he says, no, I don't want to play. Put him in. And I think that if Sam mysteriously comes down with the head code, that we'll see Brissett. Because Sam may have, I don't see him saying he doesn't want to play, but if by chance he did, what choice you got? You're going to go with Brissett. And it goes back to how much more do we need to see from Sam? We know that he is a roller coaster. I like the kid. No ifs, ands, buts about it. I want to say that. I don't want for all the Howell lovers. I like him. I do. But right now, as this season has dictated, we are what? Consistently what? Inconsistent. And that's him right now. He just is. And whether he's shell shocked, whether he just isn't recognizing things fast enough, whatever the case may be, you know, do you keep him in there? I think that at this point, the light bulb, if it hadn't clicked by now, it's not going to click this season. It just isn't. Of course, we talked about it briefly. My fan hat says win the game. My management hat says lose the game for the draft picks. So I think that I would tell the coach, put Sam back in because Sam is going to help you get those draft picks that you need versus Brissett.
Well, this is actually what Rivera said he wants to see from Sam.
What do you need to see from Sam over the next couple weeks?
You know, if there's one thing, just to me, is just the consistency, to continue with the consistency. You know, it's been a tough few weeks. You know, we haven't played the way we've wanted as a team. And, you know, I think, again, it's a good opportunity as we just, you know, look at them, focus in on them one at a time and play consistent football.
You can't play consistent football if you've been inconsistent. Come on, coach. You can't, you're week 15. That does not fly. That dog don't hunt, man. So stop saying consistent because how about you should say we need to continue playing inconsistent football instead of consistent.
The last good game Sam had was against the Seahawks. That was November 12th, right?
Mhm.
He was 29 of 44, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Since then, this is his game log, right? The Giants, he had 1 touchdown, 3 picks. The Cowboys on Thanksgiving, he had 1 interception, no touchdowns. The Dolphins, he had 1 pick at that point, and we saw some time from Brissett inside there, garbage at the end. And then the Rams, he was 1 for 1. If we take that Seahawks game out, he's thrown 2 picks in 4 weeks. Sorry, he's thrown 2 touchdowns in 4 weeks and 6 interceptions. I'm sorry, but to me, Sam has not shown me enough. And Brissett came in for 10 snaps and had more yards than Sam in 10 snaps. And it was not against a prevent defense. And it was Bieniemy's offense that Sam's running. And all of a sudden, Terry just, you had all these Commanders fans that were yelling and screaming, Terry's not getting separation. Terry's not getting separation. Oh, he's dogging it since he got that contract. First, you guys are crazy as hell. Second, you need to get some glasses because obviously you saw Terry balling out when he got a chance and he actually had a quarterback that trusted him to do what he needed to do. And I'm not putting this on Sam. He's a young kid. But to me, I have not seen enough from Sam to say he is the de facto starting QB1 next season, no matter what.
Yeah, right now you can't do that. You just can't. Now, if he was putting up steady numbers every week, you probably could make a ploy for that. But I think right now, as we keep saying, the new coach isn't married to him, who that may be. The new GM isn't married to him. So this could be his last season. You just never know. You never know. And I'm really wondering, like everybody else, what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know at this point. I took my hot take and talked about it on Fox 5. Chad was asking me, is Sam Howell the quarterback of the future? I said, for me, no, he's not, because he has been consistently inconsistent. And it's not even inconsistent at this point. He's going against defenses that are better. The beginning part of the season, he went against some defenses that weren't as good. And on top of that, defensive coordinators have tape on the kid. They know his tendencies now. And that's the biggest thing, is once these defensive coordinators know what you like to do, know what you can do and cannot do, then they game plan for it. And this is actually talking about the success Brissett had versus the success Sam had this past week.
I don't mean to compare Sam to Jacoby, but to see the immediate success that Jacoby had when he came in, is that just a product of his experience, or is there something else he was doing that was notable?
I mean, you looked at it. To me, it was. I thought a lot had to do with his experience and who Jacoby is. In terms of that, he does have a little bit of a gunslinger mentality, but he's also very smart, very savvy football player. And and he came out and saw a couple things that he liked, and based off of those things, I believe he went and did those things.
I'm just hoping that Sam's sitting on that sideline and he's talking to Jacoby after the fact, and he's talking to Jacoby once they're reviewing this tape and saying, why did you go there?
Yeah,
why did you decide to make that throw? Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he got rid of that ball fast, like Tua fast. He barely held on to the thing because he knew he had a backup center in front of him and he had a backup left tackle beside him. And yes, Aaron Donald was not playing a bunch of those snaps, but Aaron Donald has been fighting a tweaked groin. So you got Commanders fans that don't know what they're talking about saying, well, Aaron Donald wasn't in. He wasn't in because they were up 28-7, and why risk him hurting that groin more? But they were still blitzing us. They were still coming after us. They were still trying to make sure, and especially once we actually got down there. And don't even get me started, man. Were you in the end zone that they were going in towards that last touchdown, the 28-20 touchdown? Or where were you?
I was corner end zone, the opposite side of the field.
So it's 4:47 to go in the game, 1st and goal. Finally, Eric Bieniemy knows not to run out of shotgun, right? He actually goes I formation and brings in an extra fat boy. So it's like, so he does have this in his playbook, right? I didn't think he had that page in his playbook, considering the past couple of weeks, it's 3rd and 1 on shotgun, and he's going empty set. So he does know how to call that play. Granted, we didn't get in, but it's 4 minutes, 47 seconds left. You're down by 2 scores, and it took you 3 minutes and 10 plays to get in the end zone. It just
that was rough.
The clock management, I felt like, and I don't think this is what happened at all. I really doubt it. But it felt like Josh Harris said, hey, Ron, just eat up as much clock as you want to, because we want to act like we want to win this game, but we don't really want to win this game.
So he made the call, and said, you better not.
And I know he didn't do that, but that's just
Yeah.
it's either just straight up incompetence by this coaching staff to waste 3 minute plus when you're first and goal right on the 1 yard line to get in
Mhm.
and you're down by 2 scores, or they were trying to tank. But knowing that these coaches aren't going to be here, they're trying to put up tape for somebody else. These players are
Mhm.
trying to put up tape for somebody else. So I know that's not the case, but I could not believe that clock management down there, knowing that we actually had a chance to win this thing or at least
Yeah.
make it a little more respectable.
I was surprised, Ted. We've been harping all season long. Why are we in shotgun? Why wouldn't we go from old school and line up in the eye? And they got stuffed, but nevertheless, I was still happy to see it. You know,
To know that it's actually in the repertoire was nice. And
he could have just implemented it this week
that is true. He could have just, I mean, they had the bye
because he
week.
hadn't seen it. He hadn't seen it all year long.
Yeah.
They
Did
hadn't
have
seen
the
it
bye
all
week,
year long.
so they had some more time to maybe put it in. And I mean, I don't want to talk draft picks or anything else, but right now, if the
No.
Commanders lose out, they have an 81% chance at a top 3 pick. Right now, we're 4th. We
hmm
have a 33% chance at a top 2 pick and a 3% chance at the number 1 pick, which ain't going to happen. Carolina's not going to win a game. But it was just par for the course to see what was going on and them waste all that time. But Rivera was asked, would Brissett be starting if we were on the playoff hunt right now? For you, before we get Ron's answer, if we were in the hunt and in contention, would you start Sam or would you start Jacoby right now?
Based upon what I saw, I'd start Brissett because we have to remember that this is basically the same line that Sam had all year. It's the same line, it's the same players, it's the same functioning body of work. And we've always said Sam holds on the ball too long. And now you're going into the playoffs against better teams, faster defenses. Hey, put Brissett in. It's time for the experience. The project kid is over with. It's time for the experience who's seen this before, who's been there before to take over. What about
Well,
you?
this is actually what Rivera had to say before we get to me.
Ron, if the team were in 4-10 and you were competing for a playoffs, would this be the same scenario? Would you continue forward with Sam, or is this about developing him versus turning to Jacoby?
Well, if this was about playoffs and you know we're right in the middle of it and stuff like that, that's something you have to most certainly consider. You know, do we still have that opportunity to continue to win? You know, and that's one of the things you always consider because again, you want to make sure everybody's getting the opportunity to be successful.
He didn't answer.
No, he didn't answer, but him not answering to me is an answer.
Is the answer exactly? It's not always what you say; it's what you don't say. And there you have it. He said it without saying it.
He'd be starting Brissett,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But yet, this entire season has been about Sam. Has been about Sam getting experience. Why didn't they take him out against that Bills game? That Bills game, Howell had how many interceptions that game? Trying to pull it up. I want to say it was 4. I mean, yeah, he had 4 interceptions in that Bills game, but they kept his ass in the entire game. He got sacked 9 times that Bills game. They didn't take him out. He stayed in the entire time, right? The Eagles game, right? Okay, that's a bad example. The Giants game, 10-22.
Yeah.
Sam got sacked 6 times. They're coming after his ass the entire time. They didn't take him out. Sam had a bad game. But all of a sudden now, Brissett comes in. What does that do to that kid's psyche? All of a sudden, you mean to say you let me stay in here this entire time? I'm about to break the sack record, and now you sit me with 9 minutes left to go? That's got to mess with his head, man.
I don't think it's going to mess with his head.
You don't think so?
I don't. No, I don't think it is. I think that this juncture, being a collegiate starting quarterback for the amount of years that he was, high school quarterback, Pop Warner on down the line, it's happened before. And it's just something to do. It's something that happens to everyone. So I don't think it would mess with his head. I think that if anything, like last year, when what messes with somebody's head is the whole Carson Wentz Heineke drama. That is what messes with someone's head. When you go back to Carson, knowing that Heineke has the one who's got the hot hand, that messes with a youngster's head, and that's why he had to leave. So, one game, that didn't mess with my head because I'm the one who started these last 14 games per se. So it doesn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me.
There are people out there now wondering, will we see Jacoby again? There was JP Finley was talking to B Mitch on their show. Over under 0.5 chance of Jacoby Brissett starting a game this season. We got 3 games left on the schedule. You got the Jets, you got the 49ers, and you got the Cowboys. Over under that we see Jacoby actually start one of those 3 games at 0.5. You take the over, you take the under.
Under. I don't see him starting. I don't see him starting because they don't want the team to win. They understand. He may come in if obviously the unthinkable happens, but I don't see him starting because he gives the team a better chance of winning the game. I mean, he just does. I hate to say that, especially at this juncture of the standings. He gives us a better chance to win, and right now we don't want to win because I think I read where if we win one game, we go like to pick number. It was like a high pick, man. I mean, a lower number pick, and we don't want that. So, do you know what that number is? I forgot what it was, but it was some crazy number that.
Yeah, if you go to tankathon.com, they do it for NBA, NFL, NHL. Right now, we're 4-10. Right, we've lost 5 in a row. That's actually the longest losing streak in the NFL right now.
Oh God!
But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams at 5-9. You got the Bears at 5-9, the Giants at 5-9, the Jets at 5-9, the Chargers at 5-9, the Tennessee at 5-9. So we could potentially drop a bunch of picks at that point. And to me, you want to keep that higher draft position. And I'm not saying we draft a quarterback up there, but if we're at 4 and somebody wants Marvin Harrison Jr., because everyone's saying that kid is an instant talent and is going to be an all-pro, people are going to want to trade up for his ass. People are going to want to give you draft picks. So it's not all about who you take it for. It's who someone wants to take it for that wants to make that move. And hey, if we get to 3, even better. So you got fans that are sitting there saying, well, no, I don't want to tank this and that. Like, realistically looking at this, what does beating the Jets get us other than, yeah, you're happier on Sunday and you're smiling at that point on Christmas Day.
The ride home is better.
Yeah, ride home is better. I mean, the team, we wouldn't have lost 6 straight. But realistically, for me, I want that new GM and that new staff to have as much ammunition behind them to make moves in the draft. And if you have the 4th pick versus the 8th pick, guess what? You get a chance to make more moves. And who's to say they're going to do something with these picks? But we cannot hold the sins of Ron Rivera against a bunch of people that aren't here yet. I mean, Ron Rivera's first round drafts. All right. Chase Young, we traded him away for a comp pick. Jamin Davis, they drafted as a middle linebacker. He's moved to outside linebacker, and they're most likely not taking his 5th-year option. So to me, that's another bust. Jahan Dotson did not get targeted until Jacoby Brissett came in and hasn't done anything all season. And Emmanuel Forbes at that point. Forbes just isn't seeing the field. So to me, Rivera, all of his first-round picks, and it's early on Forbes, but they've just been a flat-out bust. But you can't hold that against whoever comes in here in 2024 that tries to right this ship. And you've got fans that are yelling and screaming, well, we never do well with picks anyway, so who cares what we get? That's not the right mentality.
And that's also under the old regime. So you can't think that way. Let me tell you right now, looking through the tunnel, it's bright. The proverbial light is out there for that tunnel. And if you guys don't see it, I don't know what you're looking at. But right now, we just got to get past this, and hopefully we have a great GM lined up. We have a great, head coach lined up, because I can't see us doing a 2-for-1 again, having the GM be the head coach. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see it happening. So the future is so bright with us. We just got to finish these games out and see where it takes us. But I don't know what's going to happen with these players. It's going to be very interesting, and I will be waiting with bated breath to find out who goes, who stays, and what type of changes they make. Now, let me ask you this, Ted. Do you think that that a general manager is already picked?
I think that they have been talking to these general managers' agents behind the scenes, that they've got this Anthony Chen guy, the analytics guy, who has devised a short list for the Harris Group to talk to these agents and see, because you can't talk to the actual GMs right now because it's in season, but you can still behind the scenes talk to these agents and chat with them, and they have their short list. And you've got some fans that are saying, well, we're at a disadvantage because the Raiders fired their coach already, and this other team fired their coach already, so we're behind the 8 ball. No, those teams still can't talk to those GMs either yet. That's just the rule in the NFL. So we'll get a chance January 8th to find out who it's going to be, and I think it's going to happen fast. I don't think it's going to take a long time for it to go through. I mean, there were talks that that Josh Harris was talking to Sean Payton before he actually bought the team, and Payton went to the Broncos. So, I mean, there are a lot of different people out there. The one thing is, people are talking about maybe Mike Tomlin coming here, and yes, he's never had a losing season with the Steelers, but to me, that's a coach-centric approach. I don't even want to talk. And Chad asked me this on the post-game stuff that we did. Said, does Eric Bieniemy get the head coaching job for you? And we've talked about on our show, no. His lack of refusal to game plan for his players' weaknesses and his opponent's strengths are why he is not going to be a head coach for me next year. He has not earned it. And you got people yelling and screaming, oh, he should. And I get it. That's why we do this show. That's why we love football. We all have different opinions. But realistically, it ain't Bieniemy for me. And all that matters for me is whoever the hell this GM is going to be, so we can finally do this thing the right way. Not I'm going to hire an offensive coordinator like Jim Zorn and force a head coach to take him on. And then all of a sudden you can't find anyone to take the job. So no, Zorn, you just got promoted. Literally, he showed up to his offensive coordinator interview in sweats and had to go change and put a suit on so they could interview him to be the head coach. All of a sudden.
I mean, that was the ineptitude that we had back then.
Yeah.
New day. And I can't wait. You say January 9th? January 9th, I can't wait.
And this is actually a tweet from Grant Paulson. It says, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but this is an amazing time to be a Commanders fan. For the first time in 30 years, you're about to have a true GM head coach structure. The team has tons of money to spend and a great early round draft situation. Pick your head up. Several months ahead are going to be a blast. And just think about it. I try and think of topics for the podcast. When it's the off season and what we're going to talk about, we're going to be so busy talking about stuff this off season that actually has to do with football, not has to do with Dan Snyder selling a team or a Congress meeting or another indictment coming out. We actually get a chance to talk about football in the off season coming up versus any of that BS. And I can't wait for it, man.
Not only football, but possibly where the new stadium is going to be. I mean, there's so much stuff that is around the bend. We just got to just dig our heels in and wait. And that sometimes is the hardest thing that a person could ever do. It's like the kid, Christmas Eve, you see all the presents underneath the tree and you want to just rip right into them, but you got to wait until the next morning.
Was that a song? It was like waiting's the hardest part or something like that. I mean, I definitely have heard that someplace.
Anticipation, possibly. I know Heinz ketchup.
It is definitely going to be the hardest part of this because for me, let's just get through the Jets game. Let's not let Chase Young just crush us in sacks against the 49ers. And I can see Brissett maybe starting that Cowboys game because he's a free agent at that point after the season, and Rivera's trying to do him a solid. I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen because I don't want us to win a single game. I
still want us to beat the Cowboys. As much as I hate them, I'd love to beat them I really would. But I understand the greater purpose is not to beat them, but it's just the fact that they're Cowboys, and I just want to win at least one time with them, like we did last year.
The way the conference is going in the NFC, I mean, Dallas is going to be playing for something. Right now, the
Hmm
49ers are 11-3. The Cowboys are 10-4. The Lions are 10-4, and the Eagles are 10-4. So that Cowboys game, a lot of them, people were hoping that it was going to be meaningless. Dallas is going to be coming out, and they're still going to be playing for something right now. So
hmm
it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It was nice though to see the Bills just put a whoop on those Cowboys because they're not playing well away from home.
Oh yeah, and let me tell you, that was another beautiful thing to see at SoFi Stadium when they flashed the score, and I just said, yeah. And they're like, "Why are you cheering? Your team's losing." I said, "But that other team is losing, so I'll take that."
And that's definitely some saving grace, man. Because I had James Cook on my fantasy squad this week, and he put up a couple touchdowns. But for you, who played well enough to get your rally chain this past Sunday?
You already know, CB, Kobe Brissett, he gets it.
I got you.
Yep,
So
off
for
the break.
me, well,
Yeah.
let's see. What was Brissett's grade for that week? Brissett, right? Check this out. So PFF gave Jacoby Brissett a 92
Mm,
as his grade, a 90.7 for passing, and a 65.8 for running, which that don't even mean a damn thing.
mm-mm.
But in regards to passing, where was Sam Howell? Sam got a 56.1 and a 56.4 overall. I mean, Jacoby was 8 for 10 for a buck 24 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he had more passes in 6 throws than Sam did in 3 quarters. I mean, that's just being realistic about it. But for
hmm
me, I got to give it to Khaleke Hudson. Khaleke played his ass off. He came in for Jamin Davis. Jamin's on IR. Khaleke was all over that field, and it was awesome to see, man. I want to say he had, let's see here, 14 tackles, 8 solo, and 1 tackle for loss. And
Mm,
there are some fans out there that they're just not watching the game and they're doing other stuff with their time. I'm not going to blame anyone for not spending Christmas Eve watching this team. You know, it's not easy being a fan of this team, but I'm watching to see players like Khaleke Hudson go out there and see what's
hmm
going on. KJ Henry, he actually had a decent pass rush and he was getting inside there. You know, seeing these guys, these younger guys come out because we know they're under contract and seeing them potentially ball was actually a nice sight. So for me, I give my rally chain to Khaleke.
Okay. And I will say this: if freaking DirecTV wasn't having the dispute with CBS, I would have been able to watch the replay. But CBS is blacked out at my house, so I can't watch anything on CBS, which pisses me the hell off. But that's something else that I'll deal with at a later point in time. But I would have loved to have seen it. So I'm hoping that maybe the NFL Network or one of these other channels will pick it up and I can watch it and DVR it and go from there and see what I missed at the game, because that we always say you're going to miss certain things at the game versus being at home where you can rewind it and
I
fast
called
forward it.
I called 4 bars in Bethesda because
Hmm
I didn't want to watch the game at the TV station by myself in a green room. It's like I wanted to go to a bar and go watch the game. All 4 bars I called didn't have it because they all got direct TV
Yeah.
and it was blacked out. And I got all these people replying back to me, who watches direct TV anymore? Why don't you have YouTube? It's like, if you guys could read, I said these bars don't have it. Not that I don't have it. And people just, Twitter's 141 characters and they still can't read that much. It
Well,
is what it
I,
is.
I don't have YouTube TV, okay? So blame me. All right. I don't have it and I still got direct TV. And yeah, maybe I am getting overcharged, but I just haven't cut the cord yet, okay?
I don't understand. I mean, it's like I felt bad for these bars that they couldn't show the local team on TV. And then you got the smartasses that reply back, no one wanted to watch that game anyway. You know,
Oh,
put the
which
Bills and the Cowboys game on and this and that. Like, all right, you guys, you know what? There were just a couple, honestly, my mute list, man, I kind of want to take a video of it and have it kind of blurry so you can't see. It's a CVS receipt at this point, bro. I mean, it is long because all these people just
dang.
I can't deal with the hate and I just won't put myself through it. But
Hmm
moving on, we got a supersized show just because we want to get into the Jets game. This ain't going to be that long, but the Jets are 5-9. Aaron Rodgers just got activated, so he's coming off of IR. But they already said because the Jets are out of the playoff race, Rodgers ain't going to play this week, which
Right.
I'm a little pissed off about because I wanted to see Rodgers in person because I've seen him in person at FedEx, and just seeing that quality of a QB in-person play, it's actually fun, even though he's putting it up on your team. Also, I'm a little worried about the Jets not beating the Commanders this week because I want that better draft pick. And the Jets have not looked good. They actually are 31st in time of possession. And no, they are 32nd in third down offense and scoring offense. They are 30th in the league. They're putting up 14.4 points per game. So that's not a lot.
No. Needless to say, this will probably be, even with the DirecTV's blackout, one of the least watched games.
I think this game and I think it's Bears Cardinals are the only two games this week that don't have any type of implications at all.
Yeah. So there's nothing to watch. I think the only good thing about this game is if we continue to lose and Arizona continues to lose, we will play the AFC West in Arizona again next year. I think so. You can almost bank on that because people were hitting me up asking me, where do you think we're going to go? And I said it's going to be Arizona if we can have the same record. So look out for that.
I actually wouldn't mind going out to Arizona. Just going out. I mean, but make Arizona like a late November game to get me out of this cold. Because I don't want to go to Arizona in September when it's hot as hell out there in that desert heat and just deal with that mess. But going up against the Jets, I mean, they've had a bunch of quarterback problems. I know a lot of our listeners probably don't follow the Jets, but they've had Zach Wilson going through and crying and screaming like a baby. They've had Trevor Siemian over there. They actually have Brett Rippon over there on his practice squad. But the one constant they've had is at running back, Breece Hall. And this is actually Ron talking about how you stop that Jets offense.
What do you make of the Jets offense? And obviously ranked last in the league because of some quarterback play, but they have Breece Hall, they have Garrett Wilson.
Yes, they do.
What do you make of that offense and kind of what do you do to contain someone like Breece Hall?
Well, I think, first of all, they've had to use a whole bunch of quarterbacks, so there's no continuity at that position. But knowing, what that offense is capable of and having seen it, in full operation when it was in Green Bay, that what they're trying to do, obviously, is trying to run the ball and control the line of scrimmage, and then off of that, you see a lot of their play action comes. And they do have a really good running game. It's they try to control the pace and tempo. They it's not like they're trying to go 100 miles an hour. They're slowing the pace down. And I think the thing that they're trying to do is just be very steady with their game. But to me, it really starts with their running game.
So from a running game perspective, I mean, our rushing defense is 21st in the league, giving up 119.7 yards per game. So, I mean, we're not last like we are in a couple other categories, but we're also not, best. I'd say we're definitely below average when it comes down to that. And one thing that was nice to see, I don't know if you could tell from the sideline where you were sitting, they actually lined Deron Payne up at defensive end a couple times, and Deron ended up getting a couple sacks.
Didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been moving them around. So, hat tip to Ron. And isolate that. But a hat tip to Ron that he's actually moving Deron around and getting some other blitzes out there and getting some more exotic stuff. I just wish that we could be more consistent when it comes down to that. But you've got Breece Hall, who hasn't been lighting the world on fire. I mean, from a game perspective, they got killed 30-0 against the Dolphins last weekend. And they got out of that game really early. Breece only had 6 carries that game. Prior to that, he had 10 carries for 40 yards in a win against the Texans. He hasn't had 50 yards or more since November 6th against the Chargers, and that was in a loss. So it's not like this kid's lighting the world on fire. And if that is your best weapon that we've got to worry about, I don't say we have as much to worry about, but their defense has been on point. They're coming after people. they're taking their heads off. And that's what concerns me, that they come after Sam, and next thing you know, we're down. And I don't want to say I hate it that Jacoby comes in, but we could have another Brissett sighting, in 3 weeks straight.
Yeah, I think we will, because those guys are still pinning their ears back. They still are putting good film on tape. And they basically, in a nutshell, are feeling the same way that we are. Their savior, Aaron Rodgers, will be back next year, because they put everything on him this year. And so they feel that exact same way that we feel, as far as management coming in, new players. They're set except for that one player. So I'm sure it's going to be the same feeling, and they're going to come after us, because they don't necessarily have to worry about draft picks, because they got their team that's set for the most part, except for one position, which is QB. So they're going to still want to play, and they're still putting up, like I said, good film of their players who possibly could be dealt someplace else.
Yeah, from a passing defense, they're second in the league in passing defense. They're only giving up 170.4 yards per game. So from a scoring defense, they're 11th. I mean, Sam, at one point, I want to say he had 3 pick sixes in 3 games. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sam and Bieniemy tackle this Jets defense, because that's really where the matchup's going to be. Can our offense stifle their defense? Because from a rushing perspective, they are giving up a ton of yards on the ground. But looking at our latest injury report, let's see here. Brian Robinson Jr. did not practice, still has a hamstring, right?
I don't see him returning.
Allen, I don't know why you bring B-Rob back, really. I would rather see what we got in Rodriguez than potentially have B tweak that hamstring even more and require something in the offseason. But from an injury report, John Allen didn't practice. It was a vet day. That's fine. Kendall Fuller, vet day. Tyler Larson at center did not practice. Charles Leno, with his calf, did not practice. Jonathan Williams, concussion, did not practice. So there's another running back gone. It's going to be interesting to see what we go on that field with come Sunday. I mean, Tress Way back, was a full participant. Emmanuel Forbes, full, but who knows if he's actually going to get any time. From a NFL power rankings perspective, the Jets have won 1 game out of their last 4 outings. They got blown out by the Dolphins twice in those. Where do you think they are on that NFL power rankings list? And to make this a little easier on you, in week 14, they were 27th. So where do you think they'd be now?
28.
28?
I'm going to say 28.
Is that your final?
That's my final.
No. Actually, plus or minus 3, you were good. They're 26th right now.
Okay.
So it's saying the Jet season has been another failed mission, and yet we've sort of stuck around after the Aaron Rodgers injury because of these weird teasers along the way that maybe things could be better. Beating the Bills without Rodgers week 1, the 3-game win streak, including the victory over the Eagles, the slim possibility that Rodgers might return, the blowout win over the playoff-hungry Texans in week 14, those kept hope afloat. But it's perhaps fitting that the Jets were officially eliminated from the postseason with Sunday's 30-0 loss. Just as Rodgers is being cleared for the next stage in his comeback, it's as if a higher power was shouting no from elsewhere in the cosmos, our guardian spirit desperately trying to prevent this team from doing more self-damage. The season is now fully cooked, so the Jets can't hurt you or themselves anymore. Changes are certainly coming next year, and how deeply they'll cut might not become clear for a few weeks, but this game was an awful resume builder for Robert Saleh. And Saleh was one of those new up-and-coming coaches that everyone kind of had their eye on, and then all of a sudden this season, yeah, I get it implodes with Aaron Rodgers, but
you got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, you do. You definitely got to have a backup plan. And especially in this league, you got to have more than one capable quarterback. And, Zach Wilson, it ain't it. The kid can still ball. He can still do some stuff. And especially against our defense with our lack of communication, he can put some numbers up this week. But for you, What are your keys to a Commanders win on Sunday?
Well, you said it earlier. Our secondary has to communicate better. They just do. Sometimes a simplified approach will bite you in the butt, and it showed last week. I just want to see a competitive game, and those are my keys. Um, I want to see Sam, since he is going to start, make the right reads. Don't necessarily go out and ball out because we know what we're trying to do, but just do better, show improvement. That's all I can ask for. Defense, communicate better. Sam, make the right reads.
Yeah. And Trevor Siemian came in for Zach Wilson. And I can't remember if Zach got hurt or what it was, but Siemian went 14 for 26 for a $110. Wilson was 4 for 11 for 26 yards at that point. And who knows what quarterback you're going to have to game plan for. So that is definitely going to put some more confusion in what's going on with our defense. For me, it's all about this defense actually stopping them. I mean, they do not have a good offense. We're averaging 20 points a game, believe it or not. If we can actually stick to our average and our defense can shut them down, they're favored by 3 points. They shouldn't be favored by 3 points after getting blown out 30 to freaking nothing against the Dolphins. But they're favored, I get, because it's a home game. But I also think it's because our defense has not covered a spread in, 5 weeks? So I need to see this defense actually step up. And there was a stat that was out there. Montez Sweat leads the Commanders in sacks and the Bears in sacks on 2 different teams, right? I need to see this team actually step up and do something. Now, granted, I don't really want them to do that, but hey,
yeah, it's
if
twofold.
they win, it's a double-edged sword, man, because I don't want to root for a loss. I just want to, and someone gave me a hard time for this on social. I want to root for a respectable game. I don't want to blow out. And I feel that that's what we got this past week against the Rams. They didn't drop 45 on us like the past 2 games happened. We had one bad explosive play versus Tyreek Hill running up and down the field on us and then basically sitting him in the second half so he doesn't hurt himself or tweak anything, which he actually did anyway. But I just want a respectable game and I want to be entertained. That's really all I care about this week.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's going to be chilly, so make sure that you wear your layers and don't be too disappointed of the outcome, or don't be too happy of the outcome.
So for you, and speaking of layers, I was going to bring on a little carry-on, but I have 7 Under Armour things I'm going to be just layering on and layering because I don't got a nice hoodie like you. Because I like to wear my jersey, man, and I'm not covering my jersey up. So I'm like that kid in a Christmas Story that he just got all these different sweaters and everything else on.
Ralphie.
No, I'm going to be Ralphie.
His little brother.
Whoever it is.
His little brother. Yeah.
So that's going to be me in the Meadowlands out there because I refuse to cover my jersey up. I don't have a Commanders jacket that I'm going to rock, and I want to make sure people know that there are Commanders fans in those stands.
Well, they'll know because we will be there, and I won't cover my jersey up either, but I will be layered, but not with 7 Under Armour layers.
I just, I got my people are from the islands, man. So I got to make sure I'm still nice and toasty. But who's your don't sleep energy player of the week in this game?
It's tough, bro. Against the Jets, it's tough. I'd like to see Duran go back to defensive end. I didn't see that before, so I'm gonna put my hat on him and see what he can do because he has a big contract and I'm going to say the Jonathan Allen. I want to see him do some things as well. But if they can put him at end and change things up, sure, let's see it. I wish I did notice it because I would have definitely pointed it out. So, but I'll go with Duran Payne.
That's a good one. I mean, not trying to be lazy, but for me, I need to know for a fact that not exercising Jamin's 5th-year option is the right move. Not guaranteeing him all that money is the right move. So I want to see Khalil out there, and can Khalil cover Bryce Hall? Can he make sure that Bryce doesn't run that wheel route on his ass like Jamin gets every single time and get those bombs? Can he potentially be a linebacker step in for the future for this Commanders team for next season? Because all these guys are putting on tape stuff for this next regime. And I'm hoping that this young man can actually do it, because he is undersized and that's why he hasn't gotten a shot. But if he gets a chance to prove himself, maybe he can actually say size doesn't matter for a change.
Ooh, okay. Well, we know that it does, but heart also means a lot, because London Fletcher was kind of undersized, but he was a straight up dog. So we're gonna see what he can do. Hey man, it's the Christmas cheer, and Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Merry Christmas to you, Ted.
Likewise,
happy holidays. If you don't want to hear me say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays to you, and we'll see if we come away with the win, or we'll see what the outcome of this game will be. How about that? And I thank you guys for listening and riding with us. It's going to bring this edition of DMV Mess Hall to a close. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain. You rep it hard, or you don't rep it at all. Peace.